Annick Guérard has a daring plan for Transat's survival. Aviation has always been a highly romanticized affair, with images of champagne-sipping travelers flying to exotic destinations anchored in a history of daredevil fighter pilots and aggressive entrepreneurs. But when Transat AT Annick Guérard summoned her 7 top executives to Montreal's Monville Hotel on July 12 last year, theirs was a company licking its wounds. Nothing glamorous about it. In the space of 4 months, Air Canada had abandoned its takeover of Transat after a 2-year effort. Another serious suitor, media mogul Pierre-Carl Pilodeau, had also given up the chase. After a relentless cash preservation effort, Transat had won $700 million in emergency aid from the federal government to help it survive the COVID-19 crisis. Days later, Transat's co-founder and CEO, Jean-Marc Eustache, made his long-awaited exit, leaving Guérard free to set a new course for Transat that discarded much of Eustache's plans. Guérard decided her leadership team needed to process what had happened in order to push past it. So the new CEO called for a day of strategic reflection in a meeting room on the fringes of Old Montreal. While other companies might have bonded over whitewater rafting or paintball, Transat's executives would participate in a verbal exchange she hoped would cement their renewed collaboration. In the end, they poured their hearts out in an act of corporate catharsis and washed it all down with a glass of wine. It was the first time we'd taken time to really breathe since the start of the crisis, and it was all about taking stock of everything we'd been through, Guérard says. Each executive shared how they'd lived through the recent hardship and how they felt about it. And together, they talked about how to support one another and perform better as a team. Suggestions for things to change even included the vocabulary used internally, like the phrase senior management. Guérard hates it. She wants more communication flowing in all directions at Transat, not just top down. We came out of that day feeling very united, with a very good alignment on our vision for the future of the company and its employees. Guérard says the weight of it isn't just on one person but on the whole group. It was a defining moment and a very emotional one for me. You'd be wrong to peg Guérard's therapy session as the harebrained scheme of a leadership featherweight. Rather, it's a natural product of a strong executive looking for the best way forward, someone who's made a habit of challenging convention. The 51-year-old is the first woman to lead a Canadian airline and part of a super small group of female aviation CEOs globally. A civil engineer by training, she's navigated male-dominated workplaces most of her life and climbed ever higher in her career while raising 2 girls. Guérard describes herself as optimistic by nature and hyperactive. She occasionally swears in French to punctuate her point, and has an automatic reflex to identify problems and find solutions. She can't go to a restaurant without picking apart its dining room inefficiencies. During a recent trip to the ski hill, she analyzed its ticketing and lift lineup systems, mentally formulating improvements. None of it was working the way it should, she says, using a favorite religiously themed expletive. Canadians have come to think of Transat as a small leisure airline selling affordable seats to sunspots and European holiday destinations. Indeed, it's the country's 3rd biggest carrier after Air Canada and WestJet, and it consistently wins awards for passenger satisfaction. Transat's strength in the holiday market is one of the main reasons Air Canada sought to buy it. But carrying passengers wasn't Transat's raison d'etre. When Eustache co-founded the company in the 1980s, he wanted to